Our main character fell into this other world 40 years ago. He is in a fight right now, and he lands a big hit that changes the situation. Today, Seung Wu and 3 others were able to beat the ultimate demon king for good. The goddess guy then shows up in front of the 4 heroes, and Seungwoo glares at her. He is upset that Gaia gave good skills, items, and teen memes to other people. Gaia tries to make up a reason while he has nothing, but Seungwoo gets mad. Gaia doesn't understand why Seungwoo is so strong, so she calms down and asks them what they want as a reward. The orc wants to go to the next battleground. The cute cleric didn't ask for anything because she had already gone on adventures with a great friend. The elf archer, on the other hand, wants to be able to move between dimensions and use weapons. Gaia doesn't know why the weapons are there. Seungwoo agrees with the elf when he says he wants to use it for a revolution to help the weak and bullied races. Gaia then asks Seungwoo what he would like. He is already rich, powerful, and able to go to other dimensions. He only wants one thing, to remember what he ate for the first time in this world. He wants to open a restaurant when he gets back home. Everyone is shocked, and Seungwoo wants to bring food from this world to Korea. Everyone is dead, and it worries them if Gaia says that the food on this world is the worst of all dimensions. Seungwoo pulls out his sword and says it's not fair that he's the only one who gets to taste something so bad. Food. Sewell was a wealthy and peaceful city. Monsters didn't show up until Gates did. Gates and monsters made the name go away. As he watches the monsters, a man swears, "Seal without a trace." A woman tells him to take care of himself. He is bait Kang Hyo. He complains about having to work extra hours. Huangji Hyun tells him that they have no choice because there are so many monsters in the area. Kang Hyok sees a monster that looks like it's being chased. The monster suddenly rains, and Kang Hyok leaves as his cigarette gets wet. He wants to take a break because he's tired and not in the mood to work. Later, he walks into a neighborhood and sees what looks like a simple restaurant. He is tired and hungry from working too much. He sees that the store is shut. But he still pushed his way in a short while ago. Seungwoo made a list of what he needs. It hasn't been that long since he came back to Earth. Since he wants to see a movie, Kang High Oak opens the door with force. Kang Hyok laughs because the place is so empty. Kang Heok acts like he doesn't care and asks for food when Seungwoo tells him he hasn't officially opened the shop yet. The movie fan is mad that he can't do what he wanted to do. Just then, Seungwoo realizes something about Kang Heok that neither his eyes nor his mind had seen before. The sign for closed. Seungwoo is sad. Kang Hyo gets angry when he thinks Kang Hayo isn't getting food because he thinks people are feeling sorry for him. Kid Seungwoo then brings out his best meat, which is the meat of a dragon. It has a spirit called flame that goes well with juice. He uses grape juice, which he pours over the grill. Meat Kang Heok goes crazy when Seungwoo cooks for him for the first time. Kang Hyok asks Seungwoo about a screeching sound coming from the meat, but Seungwoo says it's nothing. Kang Heok can't help but think that Seungwoo is amazing when Woo decorates the meal and serves it to him. He thinks the food looks great and hopes it will taste good. It's called the rias steak by Seungwoo. He tries to cut the meat, but no matter how hard he tries, he can't. Instead, Seungwoo offers to cut it because he thinks Kang Hyok is a weak kid. Keel Rias had been the elder of the Red Dragons for 1800 years, and Seungwoo easily Kang Hao cuts up a piece of steak and gives it to Kang Hyok. Kang Hyok puts it in his mouth and feels something. He shivers and breathes fire. He knows the food doesn't taste good, but Seungwoo says it was on purpose. He says it's a dish for survival and strength, so Kang must think it tastes awful. High Oak is chewing on some meat and doesn't know what to do with it. He had no choice but to swallow it, but then his body started to burn from the inside, and an hour later, when Kang High Oak woke up, he saw a bored Song. Whoa! Kang Heek gets angry and goes after Song. Woo's attack is easy for Seungwoo to stop. He is sad that Kang Heek is still not strong. Even though he eats it, the Kyoria steak has great effects. When people call Kang Hyok a weakling, it hurts him. He makes a strong attack while saying he is the First Order. Kang Hyok is sent flying when Seungwoo flicks his head and sends him flying. He is curious about what the First Order is, so he looks it up. The 100 strongest hunters in the world make up the First Order. Seungwoo can't believe that a weakling like Kang Hyok is a part of it. He can tell that the earth is going to end, but he doesn't want to do anything about it. Just then, he has an idea and smiles menacingly at Kang Hyok. Monsters led to the creation of a job called Hunter. Kang Hyok apologizes politely to Seung Wu, who tells him not to do the same thing in other restaurants. Kang Hyok thinks Seung Wu is a foreigner who can kill him at any time. Then, Seung Wu says that he will change Kang Hyok into someone new so that he can get stronger and protect Earth Song. Wu starts to make boomer talk. King Heek wonders if he can refuse, but it doesn't seem like Seung Wu will. Let him go. Kang Hyok has no choice but to agree with Seung Wu. Goes on and on again, and all Kang Hyo can do is listen and cry. Kang Heek wants to know what Seung Wu did before, and it turns out that he taught philosophy. He wants to start by teaching Kang Hyok how important food is. But when Kang Hyok says that the steak is not food, Seung Wu gets angry and looks down on Kang Hyok. He tells Kang Hyok to finish the rest of the steak. Poor Kang Heek, the young one, keeps whining, but Seung Wu shoves the food into Kang Hyok's mouth. Before he passes out, Kang Hyok can only think of his mother. Because he doesn't want the planet to be destroyed, Seung Wu drags Kang Hyok somewhere. He wants the hunters to be stronger. At the same time, HQ can't get in touch with Kang Hyo, and OK from the Second Order has been called to find out where Kang Hyok is. Even though it's hard for Mine, he still moves out. He later goes to a neighborhood and uses his skills to find out what's going on. He sees him right away and goes to Seung Woo's restaurant. He easily opens the lock and looks for a way into the basement. Then Seung Woo comes out of nowhere and tells him to leave. He says he will act out of self-defense in the basement, but Kang Heek stops digging when he sees someone coming in and stops. He is glad that men are coming to save him, but Mine walks by and says that he also got caught. Mine complains that Kang Hyok upset a monster and tries to hurt Kang Heek, but he is out of energy. Kang Heek doesn't forget that their boss is coming soon. Kang Hyok's stomach rumbles, but all I can do is sigh. Mine says that Seung should apologize to Seongwoo because he seems like a strict person. Woo tells them in a surprising way to go to Min thanks to him, but before they go home, Seongwoo wants to feed them. Kang Hyo complains about the taste, and Seongwoo tells him that they can choose between tasty and horrible. Kang Heek asks for something tasty right away. Mine also wants a tasty one, but he thinks this might be a trap. Then Mine picks something horrible to sing. Woo gets the food out and starts making the dishes. Mine is impressed by how easily Seungwoo can get rid of the smell of fish while cooking. Woo isn't sure if Mine has a problem with its heart or liver. Mine says it is a little bit sensitive. When Seungwoo sees Seongwoo cooking, he decides to make him some medicine. Kang Hyo tells Mine that he's happy. Kang Heek got his food, he eats a bite, and he's so happy. He doesn't like that someone like Seung can make both bad and good food. Woo adds more sauce and then turns to go get food. Mine is willing to give up himself to find out why he has made the choices he has. He takes a look at the food and sings. Woo sends him good luck, and Mine looks at the porridge and wonders if it has uranium in it. Kang Hyok says that it looks like it can't be eaten. Mine can't stop looking at the dish and notices that magic power is flowing from it. He figures out that the porridge is the same thing as a medicine. Min doesn't understand how Seongwoo can make it so quickly. Mine tries to confirm it, but Seungwoo tells him to be quiet. He takes a bite, and he can feel himself getting better. But it tastes like lead. Mine's body needs to heal, so it's either do or die for him. 30 minutes later, a happy Kang Hyok finds his friend completely out of it. Min's wound is now better, and he can feel his magic power coming back. Usually, he smiles and thanks Seung Woo in a polite way. Kang Hyok asks what's going on and wants more food. Kang Hyok finishes his meal, and Min asks Seungwoo if he can help with the monster for tomorrow. Raid Min is told by Kang Hyok that he can't ask Seungwoo anything casually because he is a returnee. He doesn't care about them enough to fight for them. He also says that Seungwoo is not helping them or helping them grow by stepping in. Stronger Kang Hyo says that they have to deal with the problems on their own, and Min tells him that he is crazy. Cutely, Seung tells him that he knows Kang Hyok is only worried that the rankings in the First Order will change Kang Hyok. Wu now wants to change Kang Hyok's character. But Seungwoo agrees with Kang Hyok's original claim, because he is tired of seeing kingdoms fall. Min doesn't want to find out more, so he tells Kang High Oak to stop asking about Seung. Wu tells them to come see him every now and then, especially Kang High Oak. Outside, Kang Hyok's stomach hurts and he wonders how Min can eat such smelly porridge. Min laughs and wonders when Seungwoo will realize how lucky it is that they met him. The next day, Kang High Oak and Min get their weapons and join the fight against the boss monster raid. Later, the news said that the two were able to control the boss monster. But Kang Hyok turned down an interview with you for the first time because he was sick. Wu is glad that they did a good job. But it looks like Wu will soon be to blame for the gates, and he plans to put the safety of the world in the hands of the hunter. While he relaxes, he has one more week before he opens his shop and will start getting ready for that day. He sees something outside, and then a cute talking cat with a package shows up. See the cute paw. Aluros are very smart and can cook well. They can also smell and hear very well. Also, they enjoy taking care of other people. In many ways, they are workaholics, and they have the best support out there. People become lazy, though, because of them. Seungwoo does remember asking Gaia for one before he only asked Renato the cleric for pudding slime, but it seems like there's also an alluring as a restaurant owner. He worries about cat furs getting all over the place, but the Aluros says it doesn't shed its fur, and Seungwoo tests. It then makes Seungwoo wonder why the Aluros came. It came and said that it had knocked out God. It had met the Meow God before, who didn't want to go with Seungwoo because he is a dangerous warrior. The Aluros then realized that training is the key, so they trained in different ways until they beat the Meow God Seung. Wu can now understand why Renato sent him the cat. But from the Aluros Seungwoo claims, he can tell that Kleis and Theo have a cloudy head. He has already stopped being a warrior, but a cute Lyros begs for him and hires him as a worker. In the end, the two say hello, and Wu soon decides to call it Nabi. Min comes back later to eat a meal with me before he leaves. He tells Seungwoo that the restaurant will be inspected by someone from City Hall. They want to see if an Aleros is fit to work in the food industry and if they are a threat to Seung. Wu remembers that someone told him that he needed to sign up as a returnee. Min says that it is done by hand when people come to Earth without a plan. Min remembers that the person who judges how something tastes is also a returnee, while Nabi is outside sweeping. Someone shows up out of nowhere. When the man shocks Nabi, he gets mad at him. The man says he's sorry and asks if the store is open. But Seungwoo is in the middle of watching a movie, so Nabi apologizes and tells him that it's already time for the theater to close. The man is upset. Then Nabi says she'll cook for him. The offer makes the man happy, so he says yes. But the man asks for kimchi stew, which is something the Olarus has never heard of. Then Nabi starts cooking the meat, but he doesn't know how to season it. He adds spices at random, and then the vegetables come next. Nabi pulls out a strange onion, and then he feels like everything he cooked is wrong. The man can see that it's not stew but kimchi porridge. Then, Seungwoo comes along and sees the man and the sad Nabi. The man says his name is Park Sung-han. Seung-woo can see that Sung-han had a hard time in the other world. Xiong Wu wants to make him kimchi stew because he thinks the return on investment will be high. He wants food from back home, and he'll make sure Sung-han doesn't forget how good his cooking is. With Norm's pork, he starts cooking. He tells the Peking Nabi to come over and learn how to cook it. Seungwoo keeps cooking while Nabi keeps taking notes and learns. Navi is sure that he knows how to make kimchi stew now. Sung Han, the customer, gets the kimchi stew, which both chef and he really wanted while they were in another world. Sung Han's eyes start to tear up when he realizes he's back home. After he's done eating, Sung Han tells Sung Han that he spent 13 years in Terra while only 6 years went by on Earth. Sung Han says that the way things are run on Earth is perfect. Unlike Terra, Seung Woo wonders. If, on the other hand, Sung Han came back on his own, Sung Han would have been forced to come back while exploring a dungeon with banish, which is magic that sends someone out of that dimension. Seungwoo thinks Sung Han is lucky. But Sung Han has a wife named Terra and an animal called an Olarus. When he thinks of them, he starts to cry. Wu then offers to help send him back to Terra. Sung Han gets angry and asks Seungwoo to help him. When Wu snaps his fingers, the portal opens up under Sung Han. He makes Seungwoo happy to see him. Sung Han goes back into Terra. Nabi wonders if Gaia will be angry with Seung Woo for using dimensional magic without thinking. The next day, Seungwoo and Nabi go to Sector's street market. As Nabi looks around, she notices something that Seungwoo can't believe he's seeing on Earth, her agas. He asks the merchant to sell it to him, but she says it's only good for decoration since it won't open. He won't give up on buying it, so he picks it up. In the end, Seungwoo uses his strength in their kitchen to open the giant clam. They find the big meat inside and eat it. Seungwoo just wants raw food with sauce. Seungwoo wants to use it to make clam chowder. Now, he doesn't know what to do with the clam's poisonous pouch, which could be used to make poison. Now Immunity Bee is worried about what Seungwoo is going to do with it. Seungwoo wants a certain weakling to eat it as a jam. The queue starts to form just as Seungwoo is about to start cutting up the meat. Mine is curious about whether or not Seungwoo found the clam in the river. Wu is surprised that her agigas can be found on the river mine. The mine mentions that there were complaints about loud noises coming from the sewers, and based on the hunter's investigations, there was a small dimensional fissure. It could mean that a gate is about to open. Nabi then gives the clam a drink. Sashimi Mine says that a special team has already been sent out. So that's why King Heek can't be found. Seungwoo thinks it's strange that people are coming back to Earth and Haragias are showing up in rivers. Gigandi, which are over level 90, are the only species that snack on Harajigas. Seungwoo figures out that he might be to blame. Kang Hyo, on the other hand, is upset that he is being sent to the sewers instead of being shown on TV. Ji Hyun also wants to know when they'll be ready. Just as she tries to talk to Kang Hyok, the ground starts to shake. It's clear that an outbreak is happening, so everyone gets ready and checks the gates. When Ji Hyun finds out that it is overranked, she falls to her knees. She is worried that their city will also vanish without a trace. Kang Hyok tells her to hold on and use a stabilizer. He offers to die so that the stabilizer inside can be used. He tells Ji Hyun to find the Warriors restaurant and talk to the owner about everything. Only with his help can they stay alive. Kang Hyok tells her to leave, and Ji Hyun does so, even though she acts tough and carefree. Kang Hyo can't stop shaking with fear. He tells the others to take care of the people who are going to leave, and then he goes inside by himself. Kang Hyo goes inside by himself. Kang Hyo goes inside to try to keep the monsters away. A big monster comes to crush them, but someone saves them and kills all the monsters. When Wu shows up, everyone is speechless because the monsters are dead. The soldiers were confused about what had just happened. Seungwoo walked through the gate. Kang Hyok hides himself after putting up the screen, and the Gigantes walk towards the gate. The Gigantes don't understand why the gate doesn't get bigger. They start shattering the glass. Instead, Kang Hayo prays for Seungwoo to come while the giants are moving around and throwing things at Kang Hyok. The giants were curious about what they had just heard, so they went to find Kang Hyo. He tries to fight, but the giants are too strong for his bullets to hurt. Just as Kang High Oak is about to be smashed, Wu shows up and pulls his sword out. The The giants will notice him because of his aura. Seungwoo easily cuts all the giants into pieces, and Kang Hyo can't believe he offended such a monster before. Live, Seung Wu finds him hiding and hits him. He didn't want to kill the gigantes, but it's not possible to stop it. He takes the artifacts and picks up the slacker with him. He sends Kang Hyok outside, and that's the end of it. Very well, Seungwoo goes back to his restaurant right away, and Ji Hyun shows up to ask him for help. Seungwoo wants to hear her first song. Wu finds out that Kang Hyok told Ji Hyun to ask for his help before going through the gate. Seungwoo can only laugh and look at Kang Hayo in a new way. Then he tells Ji Hyun to take it easy because she will soon hear good news after he kicks out the noisy customers who are bothering him. Seungwoo is also a hunter. He gives her a threatening smile and a meal. He is sad that Hunter doesn't have any customers. His food can make people stronger, but it doesn't always work. He should put out some good bait. First, Seungwoo tries to figure out what's wrong with Ji Hyun, and the helper can't help but wonder if this is really a restaurant. Then, Seungwoo says he has just the right dish for her. Ji Hyun has doubts about Seungwoo. She isn't sure if he fixed the gate outbreak because she hasn't heard anything new about it. In the beginning, she thinks about the guide for how to treat people who come back. Seungwoo notices that Ji Hyun is done putting her thoughts in order. He tells Ji Hyun that he's going to make clam chowder. When Ji Hyun sees the monster clam shell, he is shocked. She says that Seungwoo is crazy for giving monster meat to a hunter. She tries not to eat, but then she thinks of something. The guide then, Seungwoo keeps cooking according to the normal recipe until the food tastes good to him. He then gives Ji Hyun the dish. Hyun is nervous when she takes her first bite, but the food tastes good. It felt so good that she took off her coat. She is happy to eat a dish made by monsters. Kang Hyo goes to the S-rank gate hearing at some point in the future. He keeps telling them that the above-ranked monsters inside the gate were killed by a restaurant owner, but they don't believe him. They are angry at the carefree Kang Hyok because a monster has come back to the city. Then, he tells the manager not to turn Seungwoo into an enemy. The manager does know that making a returnee angry can instantly destroy a city. The manager gets angry when he tries to leave. He then tells the manager that he is going to buy some land near the strongest returnees restaurant. The manager seems to agree, but he hits Kang Hyok with his clipboard. While that was going on, he brought some other hunters to the restaurant and told them not to be rude. It seems like Seungwoo and mine had a deal seeing Seungwoo. The other hunters thought that the person who helped them was a crazy killer because of how they looked. They think he looks like a hero. The food was served, everyone ate, and then they all looked for their dishes. Delicious Seungwoo is glad that other hunters are now being brought to his restaurant by more promoters. He plans to make them slowly and secretly eat monster meat. Seungwoo has a day off, so he decides to watch a movie. At that moment, he hears a second-hand store selling weapons. He also sees Nabi with a friend from far away. He goes inside to watch a movie while the girl plays with Nabi. Yoonha, the girl, tries to remember what her mother said. Then, when she wants to make new friends, she buys chicken skewers and gives one to Nabi. She asks if they can be friends, and Nabi is glad to have a friend from Earth. The two became friends over a chicken skewer. Meanwhile, everyone grumbles about the news that the president of the World Hunter Association will come to the sewer to see how things are going. It looks like there are some enemies to deal with near the new gate. Break Kang Heok activates, and Min and his team move out because of his invisibility. Mine goes up to the gangsters right away, grabs their hands and guns, and has his men arrest them right away. A member of the gang says that so far they have caught 13 people. They keep moving and going after the gangsters. Later, a restless manager is surprised to hear that Min and his team are running through the sewers because the power has gone out. There is a person who uses electricity who can take it in. The manager can be sure that the gangster will soon pass out from being too busy. The gangster then passes out. At the same time, Seungwoo is watching a movie in peace. With a twist and the power goes out in the middle of the movie, the showing was cut short, making Seungwoo sad. He asks the goddess why, and Gaia gets an itchy feeling. He goes back to his restaurant to check the fridge and is glad that the power outage didn't affect his neighborhood. Seungwoo was feeling stressed, so he decided to eat to feel better. He pulls out an ice shaver and says that he is going to make shaved ice. Normally, it goes with cereal and sweet red beans. On top, though, Seungwoo wants to make his late father's favorite alcoholic shaved ice. Then he makes the shaved ice like he always does. He then gets a bottle of alcohol from his stock. He drinks alcohol that is 500 years old. He got from the devil and pours it over the shaved ice. He tries it right away and can't do it. Now that you know how his father likes things, maybe he comes back, and he takes you on how with him. Seungwoo asks if they want to eat, and the two of them just stare at the ice shaver. Seungwoo then starts making them drinks that don't have alcohol in them. Soon after, two tired hunters show up at Seungwoo's doorstep. Mean wants to kill the branch manager and Kang Hyok. Seung is just tired. Woo can tell that the two have gone crazy. They were in a hurry to get things done because a high-ranking official was supposed to show up but didn't. Seungwoo realizes that Kang Hyok's request to eat something tasty today is worth getting angry about. Seungwoo thinks of making a dish that will heal the two of them and tells them to wait. Paro, a creature that looks like a person and got stuck in a rift and had to land on Earth, is helped by Ji Hyun with his heavy office work. He says he doesn't like food that comes from the ground. He misses his home, and Ji Hyun can understand why. Then Ji Hyun suddenly thinks of something. Paro joins the warriors in the future. Seung Woo, the owner of the restaurant, is happy to see him, but because he has fur, he can't come inside. He confirms that Paro is missing his home, and he doesn't like being treated as a counselor. Now he remembers that the Uric people on Terra are cruel and violent. The smart Paro might not be one of them, though. Nabi has a lot of different things in it. After 3 hours of cooking, there was still nothing real to show for it. They did, and Paro is sorry for the trouble he caused. As Paro tries to leave, Seungwoo swears that there is at least one dish that Paro might have liked. Nabi starts to work out so that he can put his energy to good use. Navi moves around, and Seung thinks it's fun that he's having fun. When Wu finds out that all Paro does is sit and work, he tells him to get up and move around. He tells Paro that if he doesn't take care of his inner animal, he will get sick. Wu calls it lethargy, and Paro's belly fat proves it later. A tired dog goes to sleep. Nabi jumps on Paro after moving around to use massage magic, which can help Seung burn fat faster. Wu doesn't think that beast is in Paro. Then he thought about what to cook. The warrior family in Terra makes the food for babies in Frenchburg. It's food for lazy kids that can make them stronger and more aggressive. Seungwoo starts by chopping up the meat, then seasoning it and making meatballs out of it. He uses magic that was made by an ice dragon. He gives it to Paro with a sauce. Paro eats the meatballs quickly, and all of a sudden he feels something. Wu says something is on the way. Paro turns into a nasty-looking creature all of a sudden. Paro moans with madness, and Seungwoo tells him to attack a dummy. Nabi brings out more dolls, and Paro lets out his animal instinct. That night, Ji Hyun comes to eat with Seungwoo and tells him that Paro took a sick day. Since Paro is in Uruk, a well-known warrior clan, Seungwoo understands. Ji Hyun thanks Seungwoo for his help. As Paro's guard Ji Hyun insists on repaying Seungwoo, the chef smiles menacingly and brings out a scary ingredient. Ji Hyun wants to repay the favor in a different way, but Seungwoo has already started cooking days later. Because he can't control his strength, Seungwoo breaks his knife. He checks his stock, but he doesn't have any regular knives. Then, since there aren't many knives, he decides to go outside. The blacksmith is where Wu wants to go. Instead, they go to a place called Crystal Valley, where he was invited by Sionaria, the city hall. When the guide asks Seungwoo what he needs, he says knives, but Ray thinks that Seung means something else. Woo would like a sword. However, Seungwoo wants a knife for the kitchen. Neri looks down on Seungwoo because he ordered a simple thing in their fancy shop. She then suggests that Seungwoo make a custom order, which he agrees to do. Nair doesn't think Seungwoo can pay for it. Seungwoo asks for an elven craftsman, and they take a lift down. Nabi is worried because he doesn't like the way elves use weapons. They get to a place where it's cold. Seungwoo is surprised to see a woman elf working as a blacksmith. How skillful she is. The elf says to wait, and Seungwoo says he's sorry. She says her name is Alistair Xiong Wu and realizes that her name comes from a family where the mother is in charge. She then says that there will be no money back if Seung doesn't pick her work. Woo, and so far no one from Korea has been picked. Then, Seungwoo asks for a kitchen knife, and Alistar gives Nabi a price that surprises him. Alistar then suggests that Seungwoo look around, but Seungwoo is afraid and says no. Alistar laughs because she knows that her children won't choose Seungwoo. As troublesome Alistair pulls Seungwoo into her showroom, Seungwoo apologizes ahead of time and says that Alistar was at fault. From the start, Alistar is freaking out because all of the weapons in the showroom start shaking. Alistar says that her kids are not toys. She gets down on her knees, and Seungwoo tells her again what he told her not to do. 10 years ago, an elven artisan had just finished one of their masterpieces, but it flew to Seungwoo. The other elf laughed and said that his masterpiece wasn't anything special. But in the end, Shield, the other elf, also fell in love with Seungwoo. Seungwoo had this happen to him 6 times, and each time he got a new title. Alistair, the killer of the elf item, was very sad about the death of her child and angry at Seungwoo for being a player. Seungwoo told Alistar that he had already told her not to do something, but she kept insulting him and accusing him of seducing her. Alistar asked how many pieces of elf gear Seungwoo owned, and he said he had about 500. Alistair was worried about this because he never used any of the weapons, and she was afraid they would be put away and never be used again. She was also worried that none of her 88 children would have anyone to play with. Seungwoo liked all of the weapons and planned to give them to the right person when the time was right, but he suddenly decided to keep them. He saw that it was blue. He didn't want that. He knew that this gauntlet was for Nabi, and when Nabi wore it, it looked very cute, so Seungwoo took a picture of it. While Alistair was making a knife for Seungwoo, she was crying about her children. She finished her project and gave the kitchen knife to Seungwoo, who loved it. Alistair was worried that her children wouldn't find good homes, but Seungwoo reassured her that he had a plan for them. The next day, Seungwoo's restaurant posted a strange talent, and the reward would be an Isaac, a certified artisan's weapon. Hunters were getting together outside of Seungwoo's restaurant. Seungwoo told them about the challenge. Each person would get 1 serving, and there would be 3 stages. If someone didn't finish one stage, they wouldn't be able to move on to the next one. They would have 30 minutes to complete each stage. Challengers must pay 100 million won each. Hunters think is worth the price because the price is less than what the weapon is worth. Hunters made fun of Seungwoo because he had hurt his own business by giving away weapons. The first challenger sat down on the seat. His skill was endurance, and he was sure he could finish the challenge. He told Seungwoo to serve him the strange food. Seungwoo cooked the food like a gourmet chef. It looked delicious, and when the hunter tried it, he didn't understand why it was called weird food. Suddenly, his face was changed. In the world of Terra, the food tastes worse the better it looks. Seungwoo told the hunters that the ingredient he used was starch, which is poisonous and looks like a potato sprout. Some of the hunters told Seungwoo that the food was disgusting, and he told them that if they ate poisonous food, they could die. Seungwoo told them that he was an expert and wouldn't let them die. In fact, he used a top-tier ingredient that made people less likely to get sick from poison, which made the dish a quack 2-star dish. Even though they were hesitant at first, the hunter wrote on the table with his finger and soy sauce that the food was not from this world. Some hunters were still interested and tried to complete the challenge, but they all failed one by one. Yuna was impressed by the full piggy bank, but Seungwoo was sad that no one was able to pass the challenge. He went out of his way to make the food that made people less likely to get sick from poison, because in Terra poison, resistance was the most important thing. On Earth, though, people don't seem to care as much about it. Since technology had improved enough that gas masks could be used, they would be in trouble if the masks broke. Yuan's bodyguard showed up out of the blue to take her home. But she insisted on playing with Nabi for a little longer and asked for more time while they waited. The bodyguard was curious about the strange challenge and asked Seungwoo if he could try it. The bodyguard ate the food and thanked Seungwoo for going out of his way to make a dish for poison-resistant people. Even though it tastes bad, he knew he had to eat slowly, just like when damage was taken in the game. It's better to take damage slowly than all at once. Seungwoo was glad that the bodyguard found the right way to pass the challenge, and he encouraged him to finish the food. Seungwoo decided to give the bodyguard a weapon as a reward and asked him what kind of hunter he was. The bodyguard was happy to have gained poison resistance. The bodyguard told Seungwoo that he had tried to get a weapon from Alistar before, but was not chosen. Seungwoo told him not to worry, and that he could give him the weapon. That was what the challenge was all about. Before, the bodyguard had been looking for something, but a belt he wanted was turned down. He was glad to get the belt, which was a magical piece of armor that went from the belt to cover his whole body. When the spell was spoken, he thought that this kind of armor was the best for dealing with emergencies. Even though the bodyguard was very happy, he kept his poker face on. Yuno was tired and sleeping with Nabi, so the bodyguard took her home. The next day, more war hunters came to take on the challenge. Even though they knew why, they drank a spicy sauce to dull their sense of taste and get ready. Seungwoo still gave them the food. When the hunters tried the food, it was disgusting. Still, they couldn't finish the task. The next day, Ji Hyun went back to the restaurant. She turned down the challenge to eat weird food because she just wanted to try Seungwoo's regular food. She also thought he had a nice face and was about to compliment him when she saw that he had gained weight. Seungwoo was shocked to find that he had gained some weight. Seungwoo was surprised that he had gained weight after becoming a transcendent, since he had never gained weight when he was a warrior. Ji Hyun asked Seungwoo how he had been eating lately, and he said that he had been eating 8 pieces of pizza a day while watching films. Ji Hyun was shocked and thought that she would have to go to the hospital. Seungwoo felt bad and made Ji Hyun a huge bowl of carbonara, hoping that she would also gain weight. Later that night, Seung-woo and Nabi talked about how much weight they had gained, and Seung-woo was jealous. Even when they were fat, cats were still cute. Nabi tried to make him feel better by telling him he was cute too, but it only made Seung-woo feel worse. Seung-woo, who wanted to lose weight, made a dish with Nabi's help, but when he ate it, he felt like someone was punching him in the stomach and was thrown backwards. But he was happy that he had made the best dish for a diet. The next day, Ji Hyun went back to the restaurant and was surprised to see that Seungwoo had gone back to his normal weight. He let her know. He ate a dish that helped him lose weight, and soon all of his customers were asking him for the secret recipe. Obesity is a common problem for people today, and it is the cause of many health issues. Some people don't care about how their body looks, but no one doesn't worry about their weight. The customers gave Seung-woo evil looks and told him he had to tell them his secret. He told them to calm down, but that made them even more angry, and they even told him to shut up and take their money. Seungwoo told them that the food wasn't for normal people but only for hunter users. Ji Hyun was happy that she was a hunter and could try the food, but Seungwoo made her sad when he told her it was dangerous and could hurt her body. Ji Hyun cried about it and decided to change his body so that he could eat the dangerous food. So, she tried the strange food, but Seungwoo was surprised that she still wanted to lose weight even though she was already in good shape. She sighed and told him that he didn't get how normal people felt about their weight. when he was yelling at Seungwoo. He thought it was a reason to get out of the fight, which made her even more angry. After the fight, she demanded the strange food, but she didn't want a weapon. This made Seungwoo mad, so he wanted to make her the grossest, weirdest food ever. Seungwoo was worried about his customers because they were sad that they had to exercise as part of their diets to lose weight. He taught them warrior calisthenics, which was how Nabi usually worked out, in the hopes that it would help them lose weight quickly. The custom farmers tried the workout outside the restaurant, which was embarrassing because they could have called me out at any time. Seung-woo teased Ji-hyun to meow louder, and Ji-hyun eventually did. Min was ready for something new, and Seungwoo was glad to see how much he had changed since they first met. Seungwoo was also curious about Kang Hyok. Min said that Kang Hyok had been working night shifts and was finding it hard to get enough rest and keep his rank. He said he needed more rest, but he was at home at the time. While drinking, Seungwoo continued to make food for the next challenge, which was for Min. He finished it quickly and got a knife from Seung as a reward. Wu told them to try it, and when the men threw the knife on the cutting board, it became charged with electricity and went back to his hand. Min was happy to have gotten such a good weapon, so Seungwoo took a picture of him to make him feel bad. Kang Hyok, on the other hand, was drunk and lying on his bed. He rolled off the bed and hit the floor in anger. He wished he could be a returnee like Seungwoo so he could get better at a lot of things and get stronger. He finally fell asleep. Seungwoo had been watching Kang Hyo and knew what was going on with him. 9 years ago, when the gates first opened and monsters started coming in, he started to think of a great way to help Kang Hyok. After 3 years, some people disappeared. One by one, the people who had left started to come back. They said that they had been living in a different world and had gotten a lot stronger because of it. Most people were jealous when they heard about these returns. Kang Hyok woke up in an empty room and wondered if he was dreaming. Then he heard a voice say, "Welcome to Terra Warrior from another world." It was Seungwoo sitting in an office. Chair Kang Hyok was surprised to see Seungwoo there, and Seungwoo kept going with his usual ice guide speech. King Heek, on the other hand, thought it was nonsense and asked why. Seungwoo said that usually a goddess would serve him, but he made it work anyway and asked Kang Hyok to try to figure out what was going on. Kang Hyok thought that he had died because he had had too much to drink, which is how most of Isekai's stories end. After a person dies, Seungwoo agreed with him, but he said that this wasn't like a typical sea guide story. He told Kang Hyok that he was not dead, but that he would die if he kept drinking. Kang Hyok asked why he was sent to another world. Seungwoo said that he had wanted to go to Terra and had heard Kang Hyo complaining while he was drunk. So, he used the chance. This made Kang Hyok angry because he thought Seungwoo had broken into his house and taken his complaints too seriously. But Kang Hyok quickly saw that it wasn't such a bad deal. Since it was an opportunity for him to get stronger, he asked Seungwoo if he could get some kind of cheat ability. As is often the case in his Kai's stories, Seungwoo was surprised that Kang Heek knew more about music high than he did. He apologized and told Kang Heek that he did not get any cheat abilities or powerful weapons. Kang Hyok got mad at Seungwoo because she tried to keep something from Seung. Wu told him that he was telling the truth and wished him luck, telling him that Kang Hyok was better prepared than Seung because he was a hunter with more experience. Wu was Seungwoo when he first started in Terra. He then sent Kang Hyok to another world like a god and gave him the usual last word. "Please save the world," he said, and then, with a smug look on his face, he told Kang Heek that 3 days on Earth were like a few months in Terra, which was basically a cheat ability that he already had. Like in most Isekai stories, Seungwoo made a plan for Kang Hyo and hoped that one day Kang Hyok would do well in his new world. Kang Hyok was looking at the adventurer quest posting board. He was asked to eat with him by a kobold named Kaze. Kang Hyo said that the food in this world tasted terror bad, but Kuzi made fun of him by saying that he had been eating it. Alright. So far, Q's has told them how the food could help them and how excited he was to eat those kinds of dishes. Kang Hyok, on the other hand, said that cooking was about taste and not just about buffs. This made a lot of people in Terror angry. World signals told him to be quiet so he wouldn't make trouble. Kang Hyok ate the food quietly. Suddenly, the system panel popped out and told him he had to eat a 4-star dish within a week as part of an emergency quest.